Marriage, I discovered, does not become less dangerous just because the paperwork is signed. Sometimes the ring only makes the lie harder to tell yourself. By the second week of being married to Alexander Brooks, my house had stopped pretending she was a guest. Her running shoes lived by the terrace doors. Her olive tree had grown smugly healthier in my living room, which felt personal. Her dark navy sweater had migrated from the chair in my bedroom to the back of my reading chair in the library, where I found it one evening after a 12-hour workday and stood there staring at it like it had submitted a hostile proposal. Alex had also taken over 2 drawers. 2. She had negotiated for 3 lost, smiled like the loss was temporary, and then somehow occupied the emotional square footage of 6. I had not approved that. Officially. Unofficially, I had begun sleeping better when she was beside me. This was inconvenient. Every morning she woke before me. Not always for a run. Sometimes she stretched in the quiet near the windows, slow and controlled, the early light sliding over her shoulders while I lay in bed pretending not to watch. Sometimes she left for the studio before 6 and returned smelling of cold air and coffee, kissing my temple with infuriating softness before I had decided whether I was awake enough to be touched. Sometimes, if she knew I had a brutal day ahead, she left a note beside my coffee. Not sentimental. Worse. Useful. Eat before noon. Your 10 o'clock will irritate you less if you hydrate. You cannot glare protein into existence. Once simply, you look beautiful when you're angry. Unfortunately, this is not breakfast. I kept that one in a drawer. For evidence. Obviously. Not because I liked it. Marriage to Alex had not become easy. It had become present. That was the problem. A fake arrangement should have stayed cleanly divided between public performance and private distance. A strategic engagement should have behaved like a document. Reviewed, signed, filed, and referenced only when necessary. But Alex was not a document. She was barefoot in my kitchen, asking whether I had eaten. She was a hand at the small of my back when we entered a crowded room. She was a low laugh in my bed at midnight when I said something too sharp, and she caught the fear under it instead of the insult over it. She was my wife. The word still surprised me. Less every day, which made it more dangerous, not less. My mother naturally considered this progress. She called on Thursday morning while I was in the car on the way to a site meeting downtown. "How is married life?" she asked. No. I asked a simple question. You asked a loaded question wearing pearls. I'm not wearing pearls. Emotionally, you are. There was a pause. Then, that was not bad. Do not sound proud. I'm always proud. Sometimes quietly. Try that version. Darling, if I were quiet, half your life would still be in storage. I looked out the window as the car moved through traffic, palm trees flashing by under a white-blue Los Angeles sky. My life was functioning. Your company was functioning. Your life was curated. That distinction sounds like something Alex would say. Good. She's already helping. Mother. What? I'm observing. You observe like a sniper. Only because I care about accuracy. I pinched the bridge of my nose. You know, she continued, Gloria called me. Why? To say she saw you and Alexandra at the museum board lunch. Of course she did. She said you looked happy. I was standing. She said Alexandra looked at you like you were the only person in the room. Something in my chest tightened before I could stop it. I hated when my body reacted before my sarcasm arrived. My wife has manners, I said. She has more than manners. Stop. I'm not interfering. You are narrating from a balcony. I'm merely saying, sometimes a thing begins badly and still has the decency to become beautiful. That was almost wise. I have range. I'm hanging up now. One more thing. No. There's an event Saturday at Alex's studio, isn't there? I went still. How do you know that? Gloria mentioned it. Of course Gloria had. Alex's studio was hosting a private wellness fundraiser, a small event for clients and donors connected to a women's recovery foundation. I knew about it because Alex had mentioned it twice, casually, and then not mentioned it again because she was careful with pressure. I had not yet said whether I would attend. I had planned not to. Then I had planned to. Then I had planned to pretend I had never received the invitation. Healthy. Mature. Entirely normal. I may stop by, I said. You should. Do not instruct me. I'm encouraging you. You weaponize encouragement. Only with family. Mother, Alex lives beautifully in your world, my mother said, her voice gentler now. You should try stepping into hers without treating it like a visiting delegation. I said nothing. Because I hated that. Because it was true. I'll think about it, I said. Excellent. That means I'll think about it. Yes. And thinking for you often becomes doing once pride exhausts itself. I ended the call. Not because she had one. Because the driver looked amused in the rearview mirror, and I had limits. Saturday arrived warm, clear, and golden. The kind of Los Angeles afternoon that made wealth look like weather. Alex left early to prepare the studio. I had watched her dress from the doorway of our bedroom, which I still found unsettling to think of as ours, even though her watch sat on the dresser and her book lay open on the left nightstand. She wore high-waisted black trousers, a sleeveless cream blouse, and a loose dark green jacket that made her eyes look sharper. Her hair was pulled back at the nape of her neck. Elegant, understated, athletic in the way she could never quite turn off. You're staring, she said, fastening one earring. I'm assessing. Professional habit? Self-defense. She smiled at me in the mirror. Are you coming today? The question was light. Too light. I heard the care under it. I have work. Of course. I may come after. May. Yes. She turned from the mirror and leaned against the dresser. I like you there, she said. Direct. No drama. No pressure. Just the sentence. Alex was lethal that way. She could flirt me into irritation, argue me into honesty, and then say one simple true thing that made all my exits look childish. I'll try, I said. Her mouth curved. For you, that sounded practically devotional. Don't get used to it. Too late. She crossed the room and kissed me. Not enough to derail the morning. Enough to make me want to. Her hand brushed my waist, her mouth warm against mine, and then she stepped back like a disciplined person with places to be. Unreasonable. Come if you can, she said. No performance required. People will expect performance. People expect many things. Most survive disappointment. That's not how rich people work. Alex grinned. I know. It's why they pay me. Then she left. I lasted until 2. That was not a surrender. It was a strategic appearance. A spouse should attend her wife's professional event. Publicly. Briefly. With dignity. And if that wife had kissed me in a cream blouse before leaving the house, that was irrelevant. A decorative detail. Not a factor. The studio looked different when I arrived. Softer. The main training space had been cleared and arranged with small round tables, tall arrangements of olive branches and white flowers, low candles, and trays of sparkling water, wine, fruit, and elegant things on toast that no one would admit were not lunch. The high windows were open, letting in warm air and filtered afternoon light. A small string quartet played near the courtyard doors, which felt excessive for a wellness fundraiser and therefore perfectly Los Angeles. The room was filled with women. Not only women, but mostly wealthy clients, older actresses, producers, board members, women whose names appeared on buildings, women whose faces appeared on screens, women with excellent bone structure and better dermatologists. They wore silk, linen, diamonds, quiet sneakers that cost more than formal shoes, and the expression of people who had paid Alex to tell them the truth and somehow loved her for it. I saw Gloria near the courtyard, holding a glass of sparkling water and speaking to a woman with silver hair and a scarlet scarf. Then I saw Alex. She stood near the front of the room, laughing with 2 clients, relaxed but alert. Hosting but not performing. She looked comfortable here in a way that made something in me tighten unexpectedly. This was her world. Not mine. Not less than mine. Not adjacent to mine. Hers. People turned toward her when she spoke. They listened. Not because they were being polite. Because she had authority here. A different authority than boardrooms and investor dinners. But no less real. I knew Alex was respected. I had watched Gloria listen to her. I had seen the studio. I had heard her calls. But knowing something and seeing a room orbit around it are not the same. Alex noticed me before I reached the center of the room. Her whole face changed. Not dramatically. Not enough for anyone else to point at. But enough for me to feel it. Warmth moved through her expression, followed quickly by something softer and more private. Then she crossed to me. Everyone saw. Of course they saw. Rooms like this were built on observation disguised as casual elegance. Alex stopped in front of me. You came, she said. I said I might. You did. I am occasionally consistent. Occasionally. Don't get ambitious. Her smile deepened. Then she leaned in and kissed my cheek. Not my mouth. Public. Appropriate. Warm. Still enough to make my skin remember things I did not want remembered near canapes. Thank you, she said near my ear. My irritation softened against my will. You're welcome, I said. Then, because sincerity needed supervision, I added, this is very tasteful. Suspiciously so. I borrowed your mother's florist. I looked at her. Alex's eyes brightened. You did what? She insisted. Of course she did. She said my olive branches lacked emotional strategy. That sounds like her. She also said your left side is still better. I'm going to block both of you from my life. Too late, Alex said, touching my ring lightly with her thumb. Legal complication. My body reacted to that tiny touch with absolutely no respect for context. A woman nearby smiled into her glass. I decided to hate her too. Alex guided me toward Gloria, who greeted me like she had been waiting for Act 2. Vivian, Gloria said, kissing the air near my cheek. You look radiant. Thank you. Marriage suits you. It's only been a week. Some things work quickly. I glanced at Alex. She looked innocent. Badly. Gloria, I said, you train here twice a week? 3 times when Alex is being cruel. Honest, Alex corrected. Cruel with credentials, Gloria said. But effective. Another woman joined us, then another. For 20 minutes, I stood beside Alex while clients told me stories about her with the affection of survivors. She made me fire my 3rd physical therapist, one said. I did not make you, Alex replied. I asked why you were paying someone who made you feel worse and calling it loyalty. She does that, another woman said. Asks one question and ruins your self-deception. I offer a service, Alex said. I looked at her. Yes, I said. I've noticed. Her eyes found mine. There it was again. The private current under the public surface. The room continued around us, polished and warm, but for half a second, I could feel the memory of her in our bedroom, her hand at my waist, her voice in the dark telling me I had let her in. Then someone laughed too loudly near the door. Alex looked past me. Her expression shifted. Not much. Enough. A woman had entered. Late 30s, maybe early 40s. Tall, striking, dark hair cut just below her jaw, mouth painted deep red, silk blouse the color of champagne, white trousers, gold jewelry, skin that looked professionally lit. She moved through the room like someone accustomed to being welcomed, watched, and forgiven. Several people turned. Gloria's smile tightened. Interesting. The woman crossed directly toward us. Alexandra, she said. Her voice was rich and amused, the kind of voice that made every word sound like it had a second bedroom. Alex smiled. Polite. Not warm in the way she had been with Gloria. Not cold either. Camille, she said. Camille. I disliked the name immediately. For no reason. Obviously. Camille kissed Alex on both cheeks, lingering half a second longer than necessary. I felt my face arrange itself into something pleasant and legally defensible. There you are, Camille said, touching Alex's arm. I was starting to think marriage had made you unavailable. Alex's smile stayed easy. Work made me unavailable. Marriage just improved my calendar. Several people laughed softly. Camille's eyes moved to me. Slowly. Assessing. Vivian Dawson, she said. Of course. Of course. 2 words that contained recognition, evaluation, and mild disappointment that I was not easier to dismiss. Camille, Alex said, this is my wife, Vivian. My wife. The words landed cleanly. Possessively? No. Not quite. Clearly. That was almost worse. Camille extended a hand. Congratulations, she said. Thank you, I replied. Her handshake was cool. Her eyes were not. I must admit, she said, smiling. When I heard, I thought someone had gotten this story wrong. How understandable, I said. People do struggle with accuracy. Alex's mouth twitched. Camille laughed lightly. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Of course she did. No one in rooms like this meant things that way. Things simply arrived there on their own, wearing good shoes. It was all so sudden, Camille continued. Very romantic, I suppose. Or very Los Angeles. Those are not always opposites, Alex said. Camille looked at her with intimate amusement. No, I suppose you would know. My hand tightened around my glass. Not enough to break it. I had excellent glass discipline. Alex's gaze flicked to me. Briefly. Checking. I smiled. Not at Alex. At Camille. A boardroom smile. Beautiful. Sharp. Entirely unhelpful to warmth. Camille turned toward Alex again. I've missed you. My hips have been staging a revolt since you abandoned me. I didn't abandon you, Alex said. You canceled 3 sessions. I was in Milan. Your hips didn't go to Milan. Camille laughed and touched Alex's arm again. Again. See, Camille said, looking at me. This is why we all adore her. No respect at all. Respect and indulgence are different things, Alex said. Camille's eyes stayed on Alex. And you never indulge me. Not when you're paying me not to. The line was clean. Professional. A boundary wrapped in humor. I should have appreciated it. I did appreciate it. I also wanted Camille's hand removed from my wife's arm. A primitive thought. Unattractive. Deeply beneath me. And yet, there it was, wearing diamonds and breathing through my nose. Camille finally let go. So she said to me, how is it having our Alexandra at home? Our Alexandra. Absolutely not. Not outwardly, of course. Outwardly, I remained composed. Inside, something in me stood up slowly and removed its earrings. She's very disciplined, I said. Alex glanced at me. Camille smiled. Isn't she? Though I imagine she behaves differently in private. The room seemed to tilt by 1 degree. Not enough for anyone else. Enough for me. Alex's expression changed. Camille, she said. Soft. Warning. Camille lifted her hands lightly. I'm only teasing. My smile did not move. Teasing often reveals what manners try to hide, I said. Gloria made a small sound into her drink. Alex looked at me now. Fully. I did not look back. Camille's smile sharpened, but she recovered quickly. You're funny, she said. So I've been told. Alex always did like women with teeth. This time, Alex did not let it pass. Enough, she said. Not loud. Not rude. But the word landed. Camille blinked. The people closest to us suddenly became very interested in their glasses. Alex's voice stayed calm. Vivian is my wife. Not a topic. My chest tightened. Camille's face shifted. A flicker of surprise. Then something like embarrassment, quickly covered with a smile. Of course, she said. I didn't mean anything by it. I know, Alex said. And now you do. Silence. Small. Sharp. Then Gloria, blessed woman, turned to me and said, Vivian, have you seen the courtyard? Alex has finally admitted plants matter. The moment broke. Gracefully. Socially. No blood on the floor. Camille excused herself a minute later, moving toward the wine table with a little less confidence than she had arrived with. Alex's hand found the small of my back. A private touch. I stepped away. Barely. Enough. Alex noticed. Of course she did. Her eyes moved to mine. I lifted my glass. Lovely event, I said. Her face tightened slightly. Viv. I should say hello to Gloria's friend. Then I walked away. That was not jealousy. It was not. Jealousy was messy, adolescent, unserious. Jealousy was for people who did not know how to assess information properly. I was not jealous. I was observant. Camille had poor boundaries. Alex was professional. The room had noticed. My reaction was reputational. Strategic. Appropriate. The fact that my stomach felt like it had been hooked with gold wire was irrelevant. I spent the next hour being excellent. This was one of my more dangerous coping mechanisms. I spoke to donors, asked thoughtful questions, praised the foundation, complimented the studio, remembered names, made Gloria laugh, and did not look at Alex more often than absolutely necessary. Which meant I looked often. Alex worked the room beautifully. She introduced clients to donors, guided conversations, made older women feel strong rather than managed, made younger women feel seen rather than assessed. She laughed. She listened. She belonged. Camille circled. Not obviously. Women like Camille did not hover. They appeared in elegant intervals. At the wine table. Near the courtyard. beside a framed photograph from the foundation. Always close enough for Alex to see her, never close enough to look desperate. I hated that I understood the technique. I hated more that Alex did not encourage it. Because if Alex had encouraged it, I could have been angry cleanly. Instead, she stayed professional. Kind yes. Polite yes. Distant in all the ways that mattered. And still I felt the ugly heat of it under my ribs. Because Camille had known her before. Not as wife. Not as strategy. Not as legal complication. As Alex. As the woman who touched bodies for a living and understood exactly how to make people feel strong, wanted, awake. I knew that was unfair. Knowing did not help. Near the end of the event, I stepped into the courtyard for air. The sun had lowered, casting the olive trees in gold. Voices floated from inside, warm and blurred. I stood beside a low stone fountain and pressed my thumb against my ring. A ridiculous habit. New. Unsettling. You hide beautifully, Camille. Naturally. I turned. She stood a few feet away, holding a glass of white wine. Her expression softened into something almost friendly. Almost. I'm not hiding, I said. No. Of course not. I looked at her. She smiled. May I? She gestured toward the space beside me. I did not say yes. She took it as enough. Women like Camille often did. It really was sudden, wasn't it? She said. My marriage. Yes. I suppose when it's right, timing becomes less relevant. Sometimes. She looked toward the studio windows, where Alex was speaking with two women near the entrance. I've known Alex a long time, Camille said. Have you? Years. Not closely, perhaps. But enough. I said nothing. Camille swirled her wine. She has a way of making people feel chosen for an hour, she said. It's part of the magic. Also part of the business. My smile appeared slowly. That sounds like something someone says when they were not chosen for longer. Camille looked at me. For a second, the polish slipped. Then she laughed softly. Fair. Good. I preferred her honest. Even briefly. I don't mean to offend you, she said. I'm sure. I truly don't. I just know how these things work in this city. These things. Arrangements. Optics. Sudden commitments. Her gaze moved to my ring. People do what they need to do. Families like yours especially. There it was. Not quite an insult. Not quite a question. A scalpel dipped in perfume. My family? I asked. Come on, Vivian. She said my name like we were already closer than we were. You don't have to pretend with me. I understand temporary structures. Temporary. The word hit clean. Too clean. I kept my face still. Years of practice. Do you? I said. She softened her voice. Alex is free. She always has been. I would hate to see her folded into someone else's public life because it's convenient. The fury came so quickly it almost became calm. Almost. That's generous, I said. I care about her. No, I said. You enjoy access to her. Camille's eyes narrowed slightly. I stepped closer. Not much. Enough. Alex is not a lifestyle service. She is not an experience people rent when their marriages bore them or their bodies stop obeying. She is not free because she lacks standards, and she is not temporary because you failed to become permanent. Camille's face changed. This time the slip was larger. Good. I smiled. Do not confuse her grace with availability, I said. It's a common mistake. I'd hate for you to repeat it while wearing such a good blouse. For 1 second, I saw exactly what Camille might have been without polish. Hurt. Angry. Lonely. Then the mask returned. You're sharper than I expected, she said. I'm often underestimated by people flirting with my wife. Silence. Then Alex's voice came from behind me. Viv. I turned. She stood at the courtyard entrance. Her face unreadable. Wonderful. Excellent. Exactly what this needed. Camille recovered first. Alexandra, she said lightly. Your wife was just educating me. Alex's gaze did not leave mine. I heard enough. Did you? I said. Her jaw tightened. A small movement. Dangerous. Yes. Camille looked between us and wisely chose retreat. Well, she said, smiling with what remained of her dignity, I should say goodbye to Gloria. No one stopped her. When she left, The courtyard seemed to expand around us. Alex stepped outside fully. The door closed behind her. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. The fountain moved quietly. Inside, someone laughed. Alex looked at me with a controlled expression I hated immediately. "That was unnecessary," she said. The words landed like a slap. Small. Precise. I went very still. "Excuse me. You didn't need to do that. She insulted you. She baited you. She implied our marriage is temporary. It is complicated. That is not the same thing." "I know. Do you?" Alex exhaled slowly, then looked toward the olive trees, as if gathering patience. That made it worse. Do not manage me, I thought. Do not train or breathe your way through this like I am another client refusing hydration. "She wanted a reaction," Alex said. "She got one." "Yes. From your wife." Alex's eyes came back to mine. The word hit both of us. Wife. Not soft this time. Sharp. Mine, but in the ugliest voice. Her face changed. "Is that what this was?" "What?" "Your role." My mouth opened. Closed. Too late. She saw it. Alex's voice lowered. "Viv, do not use wife like a weapon because you're afraid to admit you were jealous." There it was. The word. Jealous. Exposed in daylight. Ugly little thing. I laughed once. Cold. I was not jealous. No. I was correcting a public disrespect. This was not a boardroom. I noticed. The boundaries were worse. Her eyes flashed. Good. Finally. Control leaving both sides of the table. "She is my client," Alex said. "She was touching you. She touches everyone." Not a defense. I corrected her. After she had already said enough. I corrected her in the room, in front of everyone, without humiliating her. How generous. Alex stepped closer. Not soft now. Not teasing. This was the Alex most of her clients probably met when they lied to themselves and expected politeness to save them. "You don't get to punish me because another woman wanted attention. I am not punishing you. You walked away from me. I was giving you space to work. Don't do that." "What?" "Make your withdrawal sound noble." The words hit harder than I expected. I looked away. Mistake. Alex saw that too. "You were hurt," she said. I was irritated. "You were hurt." I was embarrassed. That too. I turned back. "Do not analyze me in your professional voice. This isn't professional." "Then stop sounding so calm. I am trying very hard not to say something cruel. By all means, don't restrain yourself on my account." Her jaw shifted. For a moment, she looked away. When she looked back, her voice was quieter. "I have spent years building a career where wealthy women feel allowed to be vulnerable without turning me into entertainment. Some flirt. Some test. Some get attached to the feeling of being seen. I handle it. Carefully. Professionally. Without contempt. I did not accuse you of contempt. No. You accused me of letting her disrespect our marriage." I inhaled. Too sharply. Because yes, that was exactly what I had accused her of. Not in those words. But in the room beneath the words. Alex nodded once. Like my silence confirmed what she already knew. "I need you to trust me in my own world," she said. "I came to your world. And the second it made you feel uncertain, you tried to dominate it. That one hurt. Because it was too close. Because my mother had said similar things in prettier language. Because I had come here wanting to be supportive and had ended up standing in a courtyard with jealousy wearing my voice. I defended you," I said. "I didn't ask you to defend me by making another woman bleed." She was not bleeding. She was embarrassed. She should be. Alex's eyes narrowed. Careful. No, the anger rose hot now, fast and clean because it was easier than fear. "You don't get to tell me to be careful after letting some woman imply I'm a temporary rich wife in front of my face. She didn't say that in front of your face. She said it in the courtyard. To get exactly this. And you're angry at me. I'm angry that you let her decide the shape of us for 5 minutes." The word stopped me. Alex heard it too. Her expression shifted, but the anger did not leave. "I didn't let her decide anything," I said. "Yes, you did. The second she suggested this might be temporary, you believed the part of yourself that already fears it." My chest tightened. "No. Viv. No." She stepped closer. I stepped back. Her face changed. Hurt. Quickly hidden. Not quickly enough. That hurt me more than anything Camille had said. Alex looked down, then nodded once. Okay. The word was soft. Too soft. I hated it. I wanted the fight back. The fight was safer. Alex. No, she said quietly. I need to finish the event. Of course. Her eyes lifted. There was pain in them now. Controlled. But there. We'll talk at home. Home. Even angry, she said home. Then she went back inside. I stayed in the courtyard alone, furious at Camille, at Alex, at myself, at my mother, at Arthur Wexley for having a mouth, at the ring on my hand, at the entire institution of marriage, at olive trees, at lighting, at the terrible fact that I cared. When I returned inside 10 minutes later, Alex was flawless. Of course she was. She thanked donors, smiled, gave a short speech about recovery, strength, and the dignity of being honest with the body before the body had to scream. The room applauded. People admired her. People loved her. I stood near the back with Gloria. Gloria looked at me once. Only once. You're both very stubborn, she said. I don't know what you mean. Of course you don't. I looked at her. She smiled into her glass. Alex doesn't let people belong to her easily, Gloria said. She's generous, yes. Warm, yes. But she keeps one hand on the door. I said nothing. And you, Gloria continued, look like someone who built the door, installed the lock, and then resents anyone who notices the hinges. I'm beginning to regret this side of the room. You should. I'm old enough to be inconveniently accurate. I watched Alex across the room. Camille approached her briefly before leaving. Alex listened, face neutral. Camille said something I could not hear. Alex nodded once, said something back. Camille left. No touch. No lingering. No drama. Good. Not good. I did not know anymore. When the event finally ended, Alex did not ride home with me. She said she needed to close the studio. Reasonable. True. Also distance. I returned to the house alone. The drive felt longer than it was. At home, I changed out of my dress and into black silk trousers and a soft sweater. I took off my earrings. Then I put them back on because removing them felt too much like defeat. Then I took them off again because I was being ridiculous. Maria had left dinner in the fridge. I did not eat. Predictable. At 8:30 my mother called. I considered letting it ring. Then answered, because apparently I had learned nothing. If you say you heard something, I began, I will hang up. I heard something. I hung up. She called back. I answered. You are not funny. I disagree, she said. But this is not why I called. Then why? Gloria called me. I closed my eyes. Of course she did. She said Camille Hart was there. Do we know Camille? Everyone knows a Camille. This one specifically, yes. She's a client. She's a woman who enjoys being desired and becomes unpleasant when she isn't. I leaned against the kitchen counter. That is concise. I've had practice. I handled it. My mother paused. Did you? Not you too. I'm not criticizing. You're warming up. I'm asking whether you defended Alexandra or marked territory. The question hit so directly I went silent. My mother did not fill it. That was worse. Finally, I said, she was disrespectful. I'm sure. She implied this was temporary. Convenient. Some arrangement. And that hurt you. I was angry. Anger is often pain with better tailoring. I hated that line. Immediately. Permanently. Mother. Viv. Soft now. Not Vivian. Not command. Viv. I closed my eyes. I don't know what I'm doing, I said. The admission came out before I could stop it. My mother exhaled softly. No one does it first. You and Dad did. She laughed quietly. Your father and I spent our first year married arguing about curtains, dinner, and whether love required two people to share bad habits. That sounds manageable. I once threw a dinner roll at him. My eyes opened. You what? He ducked. Very athletic, your father. I almost smiled. Almost. He said, she continued, that if I wanted him to feel cherished, I needed to stop arranging his life like a museum wing. That sounds like him. It was very annoying. I'm sure. He was right. The quiet after that was warmer. Sad, but not heavy. My mother said, Alexandra is not yours because you claim her in front of another woman. She becomes yours because she chooses you when no one is watching. And you become hers the same way. I looked toward the hallway that led to my bedroom. Our bedroom. She corrected Camille, I said. I'm sure she did. I still felt replaceable. The word hurt. Because yes. Not exactly. Completely. I hate this, I whispered. I know. It's humiliating. No, my mother said. It's human. Very inconvenient. Terrible for scheduling. But human. I laughed once weakly. Then the front door opened. I straightened. Alex was home. My mother heard the shift in my breathing because she was a witch with pearls. She's there, she said. Yes. Good. Do not give me instructions. Fine, she said. I'll give you one invitation. Try honesty before strategy. Just once. As an experiment. I ended the call. Alex entered the kitchen a moment later. She had changed at the studio into jeans, a white t-shirt, and a dark jacket. Her hair was loose now. She looked tired. Not physically. Emotionally. I hated that I had done some of that. She stopped at the kitchen entrance. Hi, she said. Such a small word. So dangerous after a fight. Hi. Neither of us moved. The whole house seemed to hold still around us. I'm sorry, I said. Alex's face changed. She had not expected me to start there. Good. Neither had I. I gripped the edge of the counter. I was jealous, I said. The word felt awful. Too naked. Too young. Too true. Alex stayed very still. I know, she said softly. I gave her a look. Don't sound pleased. I'm not pleased you were hurt. That was almost evasive. Her mouth curved faintly, but it faded. I'm glad you said it. I looked down. My ring caught the kitchen light. I hated how she talked to you, I said. And I hated that she knew you before I did. Which is irrational. A little. Do not agree too quickly. Sorry. And I hated that she looked at me like I was temporary. Alex stepped into the kitchen. Slowly. I don't think you're temporary. I know. Do you? I opened my mouth. Closed it. Alex stopped a few feet away. Not pushing. Waiting. Always waiting when it mattered. I'm trying, I said. Her expression softened. It nearly ruined me. I'm not Camille's, she said. I know. I'm not anyone's client fantasy. I'm not available because I'm warm. I'm not undecided because I'm friendly. And I'm not married to you because your mother is terrifying. That last one seems debatable. Alex's mouth twitched. Then she stepped closer. I'm married to you because I chose to be. My throat tightened. Under pressure. Yes. Under absurd circumstances. Yes. With a judge my mother found in her social artillery. Also yes. A laugh escaped me. Small. Unexpected. Alex's eyes warmed. But I still chose, she said. And I keep choosing. I looked at her. Do you? Yes. For now. Her expression shifted. Pain crossed it again. I regretted the words instantly. But they were true. That was the ugliest part. The fear had a voice, and it sounded exactly like me when I was trying not to beg. Alex moved closer until she stood just in front of me. Viv, she said, low and steady, I need you to hear me. I don't want Camille. I don't want a client. I don't want a clever little affair with someone who likes being corrected and calls it intimacy. I don't want almost. I don't want available. I don't want easy. Her hand lifted. Paused. I nodded. She touched my face. I want you, she said. No performance. No flourish. No softness added to make it safer. Just the sentence. My eyes stung. Absolutely not. No. We were not doing tears in the kitchen. I looked away. Alex's thumb brushed my cheek. I know you're scared. I am not scared. Viv. I am furious. Yes. And scared. The admission was barely audible. Alex stepped closer. This time I let her. Her arms went around me slowly, giving me time to reject the comfort. I did not. I stood stiffly for about 3 seconds, out of principle. Then I folded into her. The relief was humiliating. Her hand moved over my back. Slow. Steady. I'm sorry too, she said near my hair. You were right. I know. I pinched her side. She laughed softly. I was also hard on you, she said. You came into my world and got hit exactly where it hurt. I should have seen that sooner. You did see it. Not soon enough. You corrected her. Yes. I still wanted to do it myself. I noticed. She was very annoying. She touched your arm. She does that. I hated it. I noticed that too. I leaned back enough to look at her. You're enjoying this a little. No. Alex. A tiny bit. I narrowed my eyes. Not because you were hurt, she said. Because you were jealous in a very elegant, terrifying way. That is not a compliment. It absolutely is. You have poor survival instincts. I married you. Exactly. Her smile softened. The air changed again. Not into peace. Not exactly. Into heat with bruised edges. The fight had not disappeared. It had moved into our bodies, into the charged space between apology and want, into the knowledge that we had hurt each other and still stepped closer. Alex's hand was still at my waist. Mine had found the front of her jacket. Neither of us looked away. This does not mean you get to be smug, I said. I am never smug. You are professionally smug. I'm professionally honest. You're professionally impossible. And yet, she murmured. I hated that my mother had infected her vocabulary. I hated more that I kissed her for it. The kiss was not gentle. Not at first. It had too much argument left in it, too much fear, too much of the courtyard and Camille's red mouth and Alex's steady voice telling me not to use wife as a weapon. Alex answered with equal heat, one hand sliding into my hair, the other pulling me closer by the waist. Not careful in the same way as before, but still conscious. Still listening. My back met the kitchen island. Again. Apparently, my kitchen had become a recurring witness. I would need to apologize to the tile. Alex broke the kiss first, breathing hard. If we keep doing this in the kitchen, she said, Maria is going to start leaving warnings. She works for me. She likes me. Everyone likes you. Her eyes darkened. Not everyone matters. The sentence moved through me like a hand closing around something tender. I kissed her again. Slower this time. Deeper. Less anger. More need. That was worse. Alex's mouth moved from mine to my jaw, then paused near my ear. Listen to me, she whispered. I dislike sentences that begin that way. I know. Her hand slid down my arm until her fingers found my ring. She lifted my hand between us and kissed the band. Then my knuckle. Then my palm. My breath caught. Alex looked at me. I chose this, she said. Another kiss, softer, inside my wrist. I chose you in front of them. Another. And I choose you when they're gone. My throat tightened so sharply I could not speak. She stepped closer, pressing my hand against her chest, over her heartbeat. There is no Camille in this room, she said. No client. No audience. No mother. No Arthur. No one else. Her eyes held mine. Just you and me. The last of my anger broke. Not vanished. Broke open. Under it was fear. Under fear, want. Under want. Something much more dangerous that I refused, for now, to name. I pulled her to me. This kiss was different. Not a fight anymore. A surrender neither of us called surrender, because we both had reputations to maintain. Alex lifted me slightly onto the edge of the island. Not dramatically. Not like a performance. But with that effortless strength that made my entire nervous system reassess its priorities. I made a sound of protest. Very mild. Entirely unconvincing. She smiled against my mouth. Mad, she murmured. Don't. Or married. I laughed despite myself, breathless and furious about it. Then her hands settled at my hips, and laughter dissolved into something warmer. The kitchen disappeared. The event disappeared. Camille disappeared. There was only Alex, her body between my knees, her mouth returning to mine with devotion sharpened by desire, her hands steady enough to make my own tremble. When she carried me upstairs, I objected exactly once. On principle, she said, noted, and did not put me down. In our bedroom, the lamps were low, the curtains still open to the dark garden beyond the windows. Alex set me on my feet beside the bed, then stopped. Always stopping. Always letting me choose the next inch. I touched her face. You're very careful for someone so invasive, I said. Her smile was small. You like that I'm careful. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I slid my hand to the back of her neck. Her eyes lowered to my mouth. This doesn't fix everything, I said. No. I may still be difficult. Could. I'd worry if you became agreeable overnight. Terrible thing to say to your wife. I'll make it up to her. The heat in her voice moved through me, so fast I forgot the next clever thing I had planned to say. She kissed me again before I could recover. This time there was no rush toward proof. No need to turn jealousy into possession. Alex loved like she trained. Attentive, honest, unafraid of effort. She learned where I held tension and where I pretended not to. She kissed the sharpness out of me slowly, not to dull it, but to find the woman underneath who had been bracing so long she had mistaken armor for skin. And when desire finally pulled us past words, it was not a fade into softness. It was fire with trust inside it. It was my hands in her hair and her mouth at my throat, my name in her voice and her ring cool against my skin. It was the unbearable relief of being wanted by someone who did not make wanting feel like weakness. Later, when the room was dark and the house quiet, I lay beside her with one leg tangled with hers, my head turned toward the window. Alex's fingers moved lazily over my shoulder. Neither of us spoke for a while. Then I said, I embarrassed myself today. Alex kissed my shoulder. A little. I turned my head. You're supposed to deny that. I'm your wife, not your publicist. Unclear job description. I'll send revisions. I smiled in the dark. Small. Unmanaged. She saw it anyway. Her hand came to my face. Camille will not be a problem, she said. I looked at her. No. That sounds very final. It is. You don't have to drop clients because I have an emotional crisis in couture. I'm not dropping her because you were jealous. The words still made me flinch. Less this time. Alex continued, I'm dropping her because today made something clear. She doesn't respect my boundaries unless they cost her something. I should have ended it sooner. I watched her. Are you sure? Yes. You don't have to prove anything. I know. Her thumb brushed my cheek. That's not what this is. What is it? A correction. Professional. Personal. My chest warmed. I did not let it show too much. Very dramatic, I said. Very married. I rolled my eyes. She smiled. Then her expression softened. I don't want you wondering, she said. Not about that. Not about whether I leave doors open for other women to feel important. I swallowed. You're allowed to have a past. I know. And clients. Yes. And women who admired you before I did. Her smile flickered. Before you admitted it. Careful. There she is. I looked away, but my hand found hers under the sheet. Alex laced our fingers together. I don't need you to never feel jealous, she said. I need you to tell me before you turn it into a weapon. I nodded slowly. That seems reasonable. For you, that sounded painful. It was. Proud of you. I will bite you. Promises. I turned back. She was smiling, but her eyes were serious. I mean it, she said. Don't go cold on me and call it dignity. My throat tightened. Don't make me feel replaceable and call it work. The words left before I could soften them. Alex went still. Then she brought our joined hands to her mouth and kissed my fingers. I won't, she said. Simple. Quiet. Not enough to solve a lifetime of fear. Enough for tonight. The next morning, I woke alone. For one cold second, everything in me went sharp. Then I heard movement from the terrace. I sat up. Alex stood outside in running clothes, stretching in the pale morning light, phone pressed to her ear. The door was open just enough for her voice to drift in. No, she said. I'm not continuing the sessions. A pause. I understand that. Another pause. Her voice stayed calm. No, Camille. This isn't about punishment. It's about boundaries. I moved quietly toward the door. Not spying. Gathering context. There is a difference, though not one a judge would respect. Alex stood with her back to me, one hand on her hip, the morning sun catching the edge of her hair. I've been clear with you before, she said. Yesterday told me I need to be clearer. My marriage is not a temporary inconvenience. My wife is not a guest star in my life. And I won't train someone who treats either of those things like they're negotiable. My breath caught. Alex listened. Then softer but still firm, I wish you well. I mean that. But no. She ended the call. I stood in the doorway. She turned and saw me. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then Alex's mouth curved faintly. Gathering evidence? I stepped onto the terrace. Always. Against me. Possibly for you. Her expression warmed. I approached slowly. The morning air was cool against my skin. You didn't have to do that, I said. Yes, I did. Because of me? Because of us. Us. That word again. Less frightening in daylight. Still frightening. But less. I looked at her, at the woman my mother had chosen for all the wrong reasons and somehow, infuriatingly, some right ones. At the woman who had let me be jealous without flattering the worst parts of it. At the woman who had drawn lines where I needed them, even when I was too proud to ask. I still don't approve of how this started, I said. Alex's smile deepened. I'd worry if you did. My mother remains unbearable. Obviously. Arthur remains a public menace. Agreed. And I may still occasionally be jealous. Could. I frowned. Could. Alex stepped closer, sliding her hands around my waist. A little jealousy from you is terrifyingly attractive. That is unhealthy. Probably. We should discourage it. Reasonably. You're impossible. You married me. Under pressure. Still counts. I looked at her mouth. She noticed. Of course. She leaned in, stopping just before kissing me. Mad, she whispered. I touched her ring. Married. Her smile touched mine before the kiss did. Inside the house, my phone began ringing. We both ignored it. It rang again. Alex sighed against my mouth. Your mother. Probably. You want to answer? No. Progress. The phone stopped. Then a text came through. I glanced toward the bedroom. Could not help myself. Alex laughed and let me go. I retrieved the phone from the nightstand. Evelyn. Gloria tells me there was a scene. I stared at it. Another message appeared. Evelyn. Not your finest, perhaps, but spirited. Then, for what it's worth, your father once threatened to buy a vineyard because a man smiled at me too long in Napa. I blinked. Alex read over my shoulder. Your father sounds fun. He was very calm. Apparently not in Napa. I typed back, I am not discussing this with you. My mother replied, of course not. I'll simply say this. Jealousy is only ugly when it tries to disguise itself as principle. I stared at the message. Hated it. Saved it. For evidence. Then another. Also, do not scare Alexandra away. I like her. I typed. She is literally standing beside me. Excellent. Tell her I approve of the way she handled Camille. Alex took the phone from my hand. Excuse me. She typed. Thank you, Mrs. Dawson. Please stop getting field reports on our marriage. My mother replied instantly, I prefer contextual updates. And no. Alex laughed. I took the phone back and turned it off. Bold, Alex said. Temporary. Still progress. We stood there in the morning quiet. My mother temporarily silenced by technology. Camille no longer hovering at the edge of Alex's world. The fight not erased but folded into the shape of us. Not solved. Not perfect. Better than that. Real. And that, I was learning, was far more dangerous than a lie. If you enjoyed this part, please like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what kept you most tense. Camille's flirting, Viv's jealousy, or Alex finally drawing the line. And if you'd like to support the author directly, you can do it through Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description. Every bit of support helps me create more stories like this for you.